We all know that the big tech companies are politically biased. However, they will deny this simple fact that you and I see on a daily basis. However, it's not going to work today. We're going to have Senator Eric Schmitt tear apart VP of Government Affairs at Google, Markham Erickson, on this simple issue. But before we begin, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
This topic obviously is important to me as the guy who filed Missouri versus Biden. I'm sure you're all aware of that in your witness prep. And also who filed got the first antitrust win against Google for their monopoly on search. I have a few questions. I want to start with you, Mr. Erickson. Let's talk about search. During the 2024 election, while Google search was an illegal monopoly, according to the court, it was repeatedly biased against President Trump. If you searched, where can I vote for Donald Trump, Google showed nothing. Is that correct? You're aware of this, right?
Senator, I am not aware of that.
Okay. Well, if you searched for Donald Trump, you couldn't find it. Meanwhile, if you searched, where can I vote for Kamala Harris, a precise polling place showed up. That's interesting, isn't it? Would that be, if those facts are true, would that indicate some political bias?
Senator, I can assure you there is no political manipulation of our search results.
Interesting. Okay. So after President Trump was shot or attempted to be assassinated at Butler, if you typed a search for President Trump and assassination, nothing came up. How is that possible?
So, Senator, let me give you some context
very quickly,
here.
because I have a bunch of questions.
Yes, Senator. So when people are entering a search query into Google search box, we will often we will fill that out based on the machine learning of our platform that has seen similar type of requests to make it fast.
So the question is, so no one typed President Trump assassination Butler?
Senator, the reason that didn't appear for a short period of time was it would have been irresponsible for us to, before that event
I thought you might say that. That is not true for other assassination attempts, including Charlie Kirk. So I also want to ask you, when you type in President Donald, Google would prompt you to President Donald Duck or President Donald Reagan, not President Trump, in the lead up to the 2024 election. Is that just a coincidence?
Senator, we are very proud that Google search is the most trusted platform for information.
Well, you have a monopoly. That's why. It's not because of what you're doing, because there's political bias. Let's talk about that for a second. Was George Washington black?
No, Senator.
Okay, why did on your AI, why did it pop up on Gemini? Why did the image of the black George Washington pop up?
Apologies. Senator, that was an early version of Gemini. When that happened, that was a mistake. We took down the product. We put teams in place to fix that mistake, and we set up internal processes to ensure that it wouldn't happen again, and did not release that product until we were satisfied.
Well, okay. Well, according to a Hoover Institute study, you haven't fixed the underlying issue of the woke AI. You haven't. You may have fixed the fact that obviously George Washington wasn't black, but you still have a woke backbone to Gemini. And the great black box out there, and I've been through the litigation with you guys, the great black box is your search. And I'm telling you, it's politically biased. And until you reconcile this, you're going to continue to have an erosion of trust and hopefully more lawsuits. Because people do go on Google and they search. But what they find is a politically biased. You could go to the members of this committee and search in what's on page one news articles. I don't have time to do that. But it's astounding. It is astounding, and the difference between R's and D's is real. Mr. Erickson, I want to ask you, was your testimony, actually, let's stay with you. So Google recently sent a letter to Congressman Jordan explaining that the Biden administration tried to coerce Google, but you found it unacceptable and you didn't. So when Rob Flaherty, the deputy comms director for the White House, who's infamous for saying, "Are you guys effing serious? I want an answer on what happened here, and I want it today," not to you guys, but during the height of the insanity. So you guys didn't succumb to any of that pressure from the White House to censor speech.
Senator, when we get communications from the Biden administration or the Trump administration or any government entity around the world, our trust and safety teams apply our terms of service and guidelines independently.
So, okay, so it was your decision to ban Dan Bongino on YouTube. It was your decision to ban RFK Jr. on YouTube. That was your decision alone, correct? Yes or no, please?
Senator, I'm not familiar with those specific
You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both. Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, who's now the NIH director, you banned content from him because he said masks were ineffective for kids. You were banning the hell out of conservatives left and right in that time period. So that's on you, I guess. You didn't succumb to the pressure.
The complete and total denial by Markham Erickson is hilarious, okay? You have Eric Schmitt giving specific examples of Google's direct bias, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? None of that is real. We do our best around here to make sure everything is on the up and up, right? We see this bias every single day. My own personal experience with Google, right? Running this channel, when I search for information, I try not to use Google at all. Okay, because it is basically a useless platform. It's going to push articles on you that it wants you to read as opposed to giving you information you're trying to find, all right? For instance, if you try to search for, say, statistics on a certain demographic committing gun violence, all right, you're not going to find that. Instead, you're going to get random BLM articles and things like that, okay? But ironically enough, Google's AI search is almost like old Google. It will actually give you articles on the topic you're searching for. Of course, there's the caveat that since AI loves to just make stuff up out of thin air, you have to actually click on those articles and make sure it's from the real website, but it is much better at getting us information than even the regular Google search at this point. However, speaking about the Google AI, I love the way that Eric Schmitt actually brings up the flaws within the AI training system, right? And he hits all of the high notes. If you recall, we actually had Google search returning images for the Pope. And what did we get? A female Indian Pope and a black Pope. Two things that never happened. So obviously the AI was way off the track. And of course, you also had the black Nazis and the Native American Vikings, right? That one was also hilarious. And the coup de grace, the black George Washington, all right? So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know exactly how AI works, but I do know that AI is going to feed off the information that goes into it. And where the heck was it getting this information from? But I love the way that Eric Schmitt puts it, right? The woke AI problem is still alive and well at Google. And his specific examples about searching for Donald Trump, right? Where can I vote for Donald Trump? You get nothing. Where can I vote for Kamala Harris? Oh, here's the exact location. Please show up on time. Okay, yeah, definitely not biased. Donald Trump assassination. Oh, it's going to be strangely odd on the most popular search platform on earth that you can't find information on that. But in other instances, you actually could find info right away. And of course, what's even more hilarious and tragic at the same time, searching for President Donald, not Trump, comes up, President Donald Duck. Now, I watched a lot of Disney cartoons as a kid, and I don't recall any of them featuring Donald Duck as president. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I seriously doubt that it would be more popular as a search term than President Donald Trump. So yes, you can see the bias. It's on display for everyone. You and I have all experienced it because we're actually searching for real information, real news articles, real facts and statistics, okay? But what's Google giving us? The biased opinion of the people in charge of its search programming, okay? That is what Google is giving us, okay? And don't forget also the deplatforming, the canceling, the demonetization of conservatives, right? From YouTube. Remember, for the longest time, you couldn't talk about the efficacy of masks, right? The COVID vaccine, rigged elections, right? You couldn't mention any of this stuff because you would get demonetized and deplatformed, okay? That was Google's MO. And thankfully, due to severe political pressure, they've actually opened up a little bit on those roles, but it doesn't erase what they did in the past, all right? So kudos, I guess, on making it a little bit better, but you're still out there trying to put your thumb on the scale. You're still trying to direct people to certain news platforms that they consider more viable than others, which is a bunch of garbage. And I'm so glad that Eric Schmitt has actually been successful in bringing lawsuits against Google to try to break up their monopoly and try to expose their bias in many of their search results. All right, so good things hopefully can come from all of this, and it's always great to see the leftists being exposed, especially when they're out there denying that it's ever happening in the first place. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.